Hello everybody and welcome to the GKaiser Age. My name is Lucian GKaiser and today we're going to be taking a look at the Transformers War for Cybertron Siege figure of Hound. So let's get started. GKaiser Age Transformers Review launching. Okay. Here we have the Transformers War for Cybertron Siege Hound figure, and he looks amazing. I love the shade of green they picked out for him. It really gives him a more stern military look, and the details, including the Autobot symbol and the military star, are awesome. Now, some might wonder why a War for Cybertron Transformer would have a military star from Earth on it, but that could be explained away as there are as they just so happen to be special forces on Cybertron that happen to use a star as their symbol. And that's the fun of having action figures and toys like this. You can create your own headcanon for stuff, and that's why I love collecting figures. Now, honestly, that would fit with Hound because he does use a holographic projection weapon that allows him to create super realistic holograms of anything, including Decepticons like Megatron, and that's something he did in the first season of Transformers Generation 1's TV series there. So now, let's go ahead and take a look at his weapons and the posability of the figure. Alright, so before I talk about the posability, another thing I just want to point out real quick, it's a really nice application of the battle damage scuffed up look on this figure. So you got it here on the knees and on the chest here, and I really appreciate that. It's really well done on this figure. Unlike Port Sideswipe that only had it on just his front knees. And now, let's go ahead and take a look at the posability. So we'll start with the head. As you can see, it's a very nice sculpt on the head. I absolutely love it. Really classic G1 Hound. But yes, you can rotate his head 360. Won't hurt him. He's a robot. He's good with this. And then, of course, with the arms, you got full rotation. Go out that far. And of course, you can get them up like that because of that rotation. You've got upper arm rotation right there, which is really nice for a figure like this. You've only got a single bend at the elbow, but that's perfectly fine. And then, of course, wrist rotation. That's good for that. And then with the waist, you got a nice 360 waist rotation. He can handle it. He's a robot once again. Don't try this if you're human. And then, of course, you got the kick forward. You got that kick back. Yeah, I got that wonderful looking spread. Really good there. And another thing I want to mention, the joints are pretty stiff. Not perfectly stiff, but very stiff enough that he can hold some really good poses. You got a little upper thigh rotation there, which is cool. You got a very nice bend at the knee, mostly due to the transformation. Once again, you've got the feet. They can, if it doesn't untransform on you, that's kind of a loose thing. Kind of a little downside there, but you can angle the feet. So you can get some nice angled standing poses with him, just like that. But all in all, his posability is fantastic. I absolutely love it. You can get him in several various poses. I'll show some images of here. But I absolutely love how posable he is. So let's go ahead and take a look at his weapons. So on his shoulder, as you can see, he's got the shoulder mounted launcher. You can pull that off. You can attach it to some of the siege points. So if you want to have an arm mounted launcher, you can have an arm mounted launcher. Or you can copy Megatron. Now I'm sure Megatron is over there on my shelf like, no. How dare he copy me? Autobot scum. But let's go ahead and move on. So we'll take a look at his other accessories too. So he's got these two. I'll put him right here. So he's got two other weapons. One is another blaster here. As you can see, nice chrome and black detail. And then he's got this little pod. I'm assuming it's just some kind of energy pod because you can attach it to the gun here just by pegging it into this little pegging point right here. So you can peg it in there. And you've got ammo container. And of course it fits in both hands. It's a little bit of loose connection, so you have to kind of be careful with it. But you can put it in either hand, and you can hold it quite easily. Now you can also take this weapon, and it fits really tight in those hands. I love that too, so it's not loose or anything. You can take this and you can combine it with the shoulder launcher to make an even bigger gun, which the instructions have some really weird, goofy names for them. And if you want to have an underslung ammo container, you can just turn it to the side and do that. That's what I love about these figures. You can have so much fun with dealing with all kinds of stuff with these Transformers War for Cybertron figures because of how configurable the weapons are and the fact that you can combine it with other weapons from other Transformers. And I'll start showing that in some of my future reviews. Alright, so let's go ahead and do a quick side-by-side comparison before we move into the transformation. So let's go ahead and start with a classic right here. So we got the Toys R Us exclusive masterpiece Optimus Prime. You can see how tall he is compared to that. And for something for those people out there who might collect Gunpla and do Gundam building, here he is next to a 1/144th scale GM. So as you can see, it's about the size of a 1/144th scale mobile suit, and he fits pretty well next to Prime there. A little bit shorter than he needs to be, but that's alright. There's a Siege Prime that's going to get a review in the future, so you guys can see him standing next to that guy pretty soon. But for now, let's go ahead and move on to the transformation. So, put the weapons to the side. At the start on the transformation, one of the first things I like to start with for Hound, though you don't have to, is I like to fold out the legs, which is cool, because I always wondered, looking at the pictures before this came out, how he transformed into such a nice looking figure mode. And there we go. So you just fold those out, and then this back part, pull this, flip this out, flip that down like that to get it out of the way, and then the chest is gonna pop up if it wants to. Oh, sorry, forgot, gotta move the arms out of the way first. So untab the arms from the chest and then push it up into place, and you can swing the arms back in. So once you have that in place, swing the arms right into here, and they just tuck in like that. And then you're going to rotate this around, and those are just going to sit right in there. You can rotate the hands around, so that way you have that. And then what you can do, lifting that back part up, you just rotate the legs back around and over, and they just slide over into place like this. So you have a lock right there at the front, and then the other leg, do the same thing. I love these transformations on Hound and Sideswipe so far. They're the most fun to transform. I could sit here and transform them back and forth all day and not have an issue with it. Now for the hands, and this is something I kind of skipped over, but there's actually peg-in points. So let me untab this. Sorry, not a best transformation today. Even though I've done this a lot of times, you would think I would know. But there is a little peg-in point that the hands can peg into. Let's see if I can get the camera to zoom in on it. There it is right there. So what you're going to do is once you have the sides paneled back in, these are just going to peg down, and that's why it's important to have the wrist rotated like that so they can peg down and lay flat like that. All right, and then the last part of the transformation, you just push these feet panels down and they lock into position to hold everything else together too. Make sure the back part is pushed down into place there. And perfect. And now we have Hound in his Jeep mode. And it looks great. I love the look of this figure. It's just so awesome. Look at that. He looks so cool. They managed to capture that Generation 1 kind of look, but give him an updated kind of Humvee Jeep combination going on. And I absolutely love it. And then, of course, you can take his weapon if you want. You can keep it like that. And you can place it right on top, kind of like old classic Hound. Or, if you want it more to the side, you can do more to the side there, because he's got siege points just everywhere. Now, of course, you can take this container off and you can actually attach it on the back side there, as you can see, and that looks great. And then with the weapons, you've just got multiple mounting points for the weapons, so you don't necessarily have to mount them in any specific position. You can mount them any way you want. And that's what I love about these Transformers War for Cybertron figures. They are so good. They are built well. They look great. They are fun to play with. The posability is there. The look is there. The options for where you can put weapons. I mean, look at all these siege points. You got siege points here. You got siege points here. You got siege points here, 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 here. I mean, he's got siege points just everywhere. You can load him down with pretty much half of the Autobots, like, weapons, and have him just a wall of, just a giant vehicle of weapons rolling around. But I love it. I've always been a huge fan of Hound. He's always been one of my favorite Autobots. So I'm very, very pleased that they did such a great job with him. And I definitely recommend, if you guys can pick this figure up, definitely take a look at it. But let's go ahead and wrap up this review, because we got a lot more Transformers in line behind Mr. Hound here. So that's it for the Transformers War for Cybertron Siege Hound action figure review, and I am very happy to have one of my favorite Generation 1 Transformers in my collection. I got my copy of this figure from Walmart, but the best place to find them without having to hunt through every Walmart or Target in your area is from the Big Bad Toy Store. You can find a lot of awesome Transformers merchandise at the Big Bad Toy Store, and even tons of anime figures from Figma to Gunpla to Metal Build figures and more. I will have a link below to the whole Transformers War for Cybertron Siege line available at the Big Bad Toy Store. Next time, we will be taking a look at one of my favorite Decepticons from Transformers Generation 1, Soundwave, and his two Battle Masters, Ravage and Laserbeak. So look forward to that. I want to thank you all for joining me here in the GKaiser Age. If you enjoyed the video, target and fire at that like button, dock the video into your favorites, and download your thoughts into the comment section below, letting me know what you think of this figure and other figures that I might have reviewed. Also, don't forget to link up with that subscribe button and activate the bell icon if you want to be alerted when I upload videos. Check out my GKaiser Age figure review playlist if you want to see more mecha figure reviews. But again, thank you for joining me here in the GKaiser Age. I will see you all again in the next Transformers War for Cybertron battle.